All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
Good Monday evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Monday Night RAW Dogg. I am your host, Coach, and I am joined by my esteemed colleague and our current booking world champion. He is the hater of Ohio State and a hater of anything Packers. He is Big Daddy C.
Correction. Hater of not just Ohio State, but hater of anything from the state of Wisconsin.
Fair point.
In all sports. Yep.
How you doing tonight, C?
I'm good, man. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is my grand return to
It is
Monday Night RAW Dogg, man.
It is.
So it's been a while.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to be back to discuss some good old Monday Night Raw action, man. So I know we had an earlier show due to them being in they were still in Germany, right? Yep. So yeah, it was a nice solid show, man. They really made up for last week. So yeah, so let's talk about it.
All right, so we kick things off in Germany with the new women's tag team champions making their way to the ring in IYO SKY and Rhea Ripley, both bragging about their victory and how their friendship is what helped them in their victory against the Kabuki Warriors. Rhea then issued a challenge to any of the women's tag teams to come out and take the titles from them. And then, of course, cue Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez as they came out to stake their claim. Didn't take long for Bayley and Lyra Valkyrie to come out. And just a lot of back and forth of drawing. It was your standard new champions have multiple people wanting a title shot. I mean, we've seen it 1,000 times, but it's easy. It's an easy way to create multiple paths for the story. But what was an interesting one to top it off was the Kabuki Warriors coming in, even causing more of a brawl, and the Rhea and IYO just took everybody out and stood tall to end the segment. This would eventually lead to an announcement of a triple threat tag team number one contenders match between all three of these tag teams. Not a bad way to open. My one issue with it is none of these challengers seemed like an actual threat to Rhea and IYO. So that's where I was kind of iffy on this. I thought it was a good way to develop the story, but you're not making it believable for the challengers. So that's just my one issue with that. See, what do you think of our opening segment?
Coach, when it comes to the women's tag team division, just in general, there's some days I'm like, okay, they got some good things going. Some days I'm like, what are we doing? And in this moment, I'm kind of like, what are we doing? Because what was the point? What was the point of putting these titles on Rio and Rhea Ripley? Well, not Rio. I meant to say IYO SKY and Rhea Ripley, but what was the point? Like, I don't see the need for them for one to be a tag team. I thought it was just randomly put together for no reason. It was so random, and then to put the titles on them, like yeah, like, and just so like me watching the segment, I was just like, I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm really more interested in seeing who's going to be the worthy challengers to beat them. Because I will not mind Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez winning the tag team titles. I think they'll be a worthy tag team. You know, um, just like AEW have the Babes of Wrath.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, they Liv and Roxanne could be the Babes or something. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, the Babes of Judgment. like, like, because you know how I feel about both of them.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I just don't. I just thought like just them as a tag team, Rhea and IYO, it was so random. I'm like, we don't need. There was no point, honestly. I get
Mm-hmm.
it. They have a common enemy in the Judgment Day, but everyone doesn't need to be a tag team. And then
Right.
we consider the rivalry that Rhea and IYO had. Especially with Rhea not like having a single victory over IYO. It was just like, all right, I kind of still wanted to see that rivalry continue, and I don't know, man. I'm just not sold on those two as a tag team. So the segment was kind of whatever to me.
Mm-hmm. No, that's understandable. But and to your point about the rivalry between those two, I do think this will eventually lead to that matchup with the usual tag team breakup. Somebody gets frustrated and turns heel. Um, which one it's going to be, I don't know because I think either one.
It's gonna have to be Rhea because
Yeah,
EO as a heel, it doesn't work anymore. Not that it ever did work, honestly, but I just feel like it. We don't need to go down that route again because this is going to
hmm
remind me of Damage Control, and I don't need any more reminders of that. So I just think that Rhea needs to go ahead, turn heel. It's been a long time, so
hmm
I wouldn't be opposed to. EO is a huge baby face. The crowd loves her. So does the fans. So I think a little heel run for Rhea wouldn't hurt, even though she's so over with the crowd. I highly doubt she'd get booed again. But we shall see. But yeah, I think the breakup is going to come eventually, and even if it doesn't, I think that a good mutual like, all right, we're gonna part our ways and go on focus on our singles career again.
hmm
It's been done before. I'm trying to think who did that. It was on the men's side. It was two guys who were a tag team, and they randomly decided, hey, let's go our separate ways and focus on our careers. I gotta look it up, but it was more recent. I want to say maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Um, I don't know if you know it, but it
Yeah,
was.
I'm trying to think of who.
Oh man, I think. Oh my god. Um, I forgot, but I'm sure somebody will put it in the comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
All right, we get to our first match of the evening, which is the Monday Night Raw debut of Javon Evans. He's taking on Bravo Americano, aka Tyler Bate, and
Wait, that's who that
Evan.
is?
That's who that is. Yes.
Oh my god, I did not know that. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yes. So Evan started out quick, showed off his agility, uh, had some nice high flying moves. The crowd was hot for him. Couple of distractions from El Grande Americano let Bravo get in the match a little bit more. Um, but it was the final segment that really got people fired up, and that was as Bravo was on the top rope waiting to hit what looked was probably going to be like a frog splash or something. Javon Evans came flying in, jumped up on the top rope, grabbed Bravo and did a Spanish fly, and then off of that did the OG cutter, a super OG cutter, I may add, because he did that from the top turnbuckle and hit him for the win. Crowd went absolutely nuts for Javon, rightfully so. A short match, but it was a good match to highlight the athleticism that for the non NXT watching fan to know about Javon Evans. So, really good job to kind of bring him in. And I'm just so excited to watch this guy progress. And he's only 21, which is even crazier. What'd you think, C?
Oh yeah, I saw the highlights for the match, man. Obviously, I already like you said, for the non NXT watchers, they don't know, so they wouldn't know. And so for me, I've been following Javon's journey on NXT for a while now, and so the talent is there, man. Like the man is he's a baller, and we saw the high profile matches he's had against Trick Williams and Obafemi and Ricky Saints, and so just to and obviously the tag team matches he's had over the years, especially him and Leon Slater, and then even the 101 match they had not too long ago. So it's just he's money, man. He can definitely feel like he can definitely challenge for a mid card title at some point. Doesn't have to be quick, but I definitely think it won't be long for him to challenge for Intercontinental title. So, so I definitely see that on the horizon. And so once Dom comes back, I'm shocked that they didn't strip him of the title, but I think we're in that era where if you if you're not out completely, or really if you're not a world champion and you're having to be out for more than 30 days, I honestly think that you can still keep the championship. So I think with Dom, being they think they have so much high regard for Dom that they're just going to keep the strap on him until he's ready to come back, and then they'll put him in whatever rivalry that he needs to be in. But I think Javon Evans could definitely challenge for that championship someday. So we'll see. How long that time takes for that to happen. So, but I think he had a great debut on Monday Night Raw, and I'm glad that it came at the expense of one of those god awful Americano guys, because I despise them and I need them to go away forever. So those are my thoughts on the match.
All right, we get to our next segment, which is CM Punk making his way to the ring. Crowd going crazy once more for him. Punk talked about being on the road to WrestleMania, how anything can happen. He mentioned Drew McIntyre beating Cody Rhodes, and now saying that he plans to forget about the vision and move on to the future. He's looking for new challengers, and he said he would take on anybody, anytime, anywhere. And then Finn Bálor interrupts and comes out to challenge Punk and says he isn't waiting for the Rumble of the Chamber. He wants his title shot now. Punk had obviously been waiting for Finn to take his shot and even called him out and saying that he was excited that he heard Finn's music, but he's wondering where he's been because he's been too busy playing video games and shining Liv Morgan's shoes. And as Punk said, let's do it right here, right now, tonight, Bálor disagreed and said, we are waiting until we are in my country to do it, which is next Monday Night Raw. So next week, CM Punk for Finn Bálor for the World Heavyweight Championship in Finn Bálor's home country of Ireland. This is a match a lot of people want, and this was a straightforward segment to just get it out of the way and get everyone hyped up. I think this did its job exactly that. and I'm excited for next Monday. What do you think, Claude? Or C?
Yeah, I'm all for it, man. Honestly, I would not be surprised if Finn Balor wins it
I was thinking that too.
because we already got a shocker on SmackDown with. Did he fumble the ball? Uh-oh. Sorry, y'all. I'm watching the Steelers and Houston Texans game. I believe CJ Stroud just fumbled the ball again.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah, I would not be surprised if Finn Balor wins it. We saw Cody Rhodes lose to. Yep, that was a fumble. We saw Cody Rhodes lose to Drew McIntyre. Everybody thought Cody was going to retain after all the stuff that went down. That with Drew, the disrespect to him and his father and all that. But we saw the events unfold, and Drew ends up escaping the cage and wins the WWE Championship. And he wins in front of the crowd, not getting screwed over. He actually gets to leave unscathed, no cash ins, nothing. So yeah, I think that yeah, I think I would not. I think Finn will win it. I'm going to say. I'm going to go on record. Finn Balor will win the World Heavyweight Championship in his
All
hometown
right.
next week.
You heard it here. You heard it here first, folks.
And I look, like I said, his two comrades in the Judgment Day are out. Now there's one Judgment Day member that I don't know. I don't know. Well, actually, he got released. That's right. Yep, forgot about that, Carlito. Yep. But yeah, he really has no help. To be honest with you, I'm like, we don't expect Liv, Raquel, and Roxanne to interfere because they're preoccupied right now. We got Raquel going after Stephanie. We'll get into that later. We got Liv and not Raquel. God, Jesus.
Roxanne.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Raquel. Yeah, I was right. Raquel going after Stephanie, and then you got Roxanne and Liv going after the tag team championship. So they're preoccupied right now. So now Finn is pretty much by himself. And so I think that hey, all bets are off. Now, who knows who can interfere? Who up? I mean, CM Punk says he's done with the Vision, but the Vision may not be done with him. Who knows? So hey, it might be some other outside forces that can cost him the championship. But we'll see how that unfolds. But yeah, I'm psyched for the match, man. These two guys, like, we know they're real seasoned vets. Finn, he had his time in New Japan and all the other indie circuits, and CM Punk, he had his time in the indie circuits for years. So these guys have been doing it for I would say about 20 plus years. Finn is almost going on 20 plus, and CM Punk, same thing. CM Punk's well over 20 years, just in general. Well, no, because he had the 7 years off. Not like 7 years off from WWE, or maybe like 9 years total from wrestling. So I would say probably a little bit under 20 years, but if you want to count his indie years, I would say maybe 20. But yeah, man, I'm excited for the match. Like I said, I think Finn's gonna win it. It's time. It's been long overdue for him to actually, have a championship reign. We know him and Priest had their battles, but I didn't consider that as a meaningful feud. I think this will be the first meaningful feud for Finn Balor in years. I feel like the last time was obviously him and Roman Reigns. We know what happened with that. And then before that, him and Seth Rollins went at it for the championship for a couple of times. So I think it's time for Finn Balor to get back at it. And hopefully we get to see the Demon pop out next Monday.
Oh, I hope so.
He might bring it out one-time appearance for his hometown. He talked about it being him wanting it to be a surprise as opposed to it being, him always having to get beat up to bring it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't mind seeing it because it's been about 3 or 4 years.
No, it's
now
been more
since we
than
saw it.
that.
Yeah, because WrestleMania, what was it, WrestleMania 39 against Edge. That was the last time we saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, it didn't feel right because it was in the daytime when they had the match. So, like the darkness, you couldn't really see the lights go out the way we wanted it to. So,
Right.
yeah, but yeah, those are my thoughts, man. I got Finn winning this match, man.
All right, we go to our next match, which is the triple threat uh, tag team match for the number one contenders in the women's tag team championship. Um, nice little back and forth sequences to start out. Kairi Sane, Lyra Valkyria, Roxanne Perez, all three got very physical and had a really good job. The one who stood out to me the most was, once again, Kairi Sane. She was magnificent in this match, not only with her in ring work, but also her outside ring work. Um, there was always something going on with her, and the crowd was reacting accordingly to her. Like, they are still teasing that face turn for her, and the crowd is still loving it for her. But as the match was coming in to a close, there was multiple people in the ring. Nobody knew who the legal person was. Asuka actually came in for a pin on Liv Morgan, but the ref had to tell her that she was not the legal person. Kairi Sane then came in, threw Roxanne out of the ring, not knowing that Liv Morgan was the legal person, and Liv hit Oblivion and 1, 2, 3. So Liv and Roxanne are the new number one contenders. Pretty solid match. Lot of confusion there at the end. Don't know if that was planned. I don't think it was, but it was still a very, very good match and intriguing that Liv and Roxanne won. And my only question is, where the heck are Charlotte and Alexa for this? But that's just my thoughts. See what you think.
So obviously, I was happy with Liv and Roxanne winning. Um, anytime, like I said, I'm just over any member um, any former member the uh, of the damage control group not having success. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, like EO, like Asuka, Kairi Sane. I love them individually, but when they're in any form of a group tag team, I don't want to see no. Um, so yeah, I'm happy that that they won. That Roxanne and um, Roxanne and Liv won. I'm ready for them to win the tag team championships. But I do agree with you where Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. I think the last time, what was it? Was it SmackDown or last Monday night on Raw um, where Nia Jax and what's the girl name?
Lash Legend.
Last Legend. Basically, he was trying to like plant the seeds of doubt into Alexa Bliss's mind, basically saying, "Hey, need to be on the lookout for Charlotte. She's got an eye on the championship, blah blah blah, and all this other stuff." And then Alexa was like, "Yeah, look out for Nia Jax. She's known to turn on her teammates as well."
Mm-hmm.
So, so yeah, I think probably they're gearing up for the breakup of that tag team. That's probably why we won't see much of them challenging for tag team gold. Those are my thoughts on that.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I just think why not for them getting their rematch? That's kind of where I'm going with. But yeah, they are definitely planting the seeds.
Yeah.
We go to our. Oh, go ahead. Any final thoughts?
Oh, so they never. All right, so they never did get their rematch for the
Exactly.
after
Yes,
losing.
that's my
Okay,
biggest beef right now.
but you know, I think they've gone. They don't do the. Remember, they stopped. They said that the guarantees for rematch clauses those are done. So there's no guarantee that the rematches are going to happen for these championships when people lose their championship. So so I'm not surprised that they won't ever get one. You know,
Mm-hmm.
hell, Finn. Um, Finn never got a rematch for all his championships like that he like won or lost because like he's had to vacate the championship. Each time he's won a world championship, he's which probably only once actually. He only
Mm-hmm.
won the Universal Championship once, but he never got his rematch. But even though he's had opportunities along the way, he never got that quick rematch when he first came back from injury. But like I said, they did away with the guaranteed rematch clauses, and so I think, and then on top of that, I think they just got other things planned in the future for
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. I don't think the tag team championships is on the radar, on the priority list, high on the priority list for them too, especially with the Royal Rumble coming up. I think usually this is when teams start to kind of dwindle around Royal Rumble, around WrestleMania, Road to WrestleMania season. So I think I think it's pretty much we're getting close to the end of the road for Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. It was a nice little run, but I think it's ran its course at this moment in time.
All right, we get to our next segment, which is a interview with Raquel Rodriguez, who was getting a lot of heat from the crowd, um, and Raquel just soaking it in and bragging about it. Says that she's tired of waiting around and getting screwed out of the title, and it was only until Stephanie Vicaire showed up, security made Raquel leave, and then Stephanie was giving an interview. Then Raquel, of course, came from behind and started attacking her, smashed her injured leg onto the concrete floor before finally leaving. Um, this was simple but effective, and it's only this. There's two outcomes here, and either one's going to be good. Number one is we see Raquel become the champion. Or number two, Stephanie finally gets a actual good feud and looks like a fighting champion that can retain when the odds are stacked against her, which is something we haven't really seen from her yet, but we saw that down in NXT. So that would be kind of refreshing to see too. Either way, I think it's a win-win outcome, but I really hope number one happens with Raquel winning because she definitely deserves it with the work that she's putting in right now. See what you think of the segment.
Uh, what nationality is she? Will she be classified as Latina? Stephanie Blackhair.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, I love this Latino and Latina crowd. It's amazing to see, especially those two. Then just hearing them talking Spanish, it just does something to my soul. Then when they get all angry and feisty, it makes it even more hot and sexy. But that's another topic for another day. I'm all look, man. This is a nice young, fresh rivalry, and I love to see it. We're getting away from the same, people going at each other, for championships. It's good to see fresh faces, going at it, man. So I think Triple H is finally getting the picture, letting people,
Mm-hmm.
that don't get shots often, step up to the plate and get these opportunities, man. So seeing Finn Bálor that's not always in the world championship picture, he get a shot, and obviously we saw Bron Breakker get his shot last week. Um, the yeah was it last week? Yeah, last week.
Yeah,
Uh,
last week.
and and then we see see how everything's on SmackDown. We got the little tournament coming on. Tournament for the Fatal 4-Way match, the face Drew at the Rumble. We got all that coming up. So it's a new era, man. All the young talent getting called up, getting their opportunities, man. So I like to see it. So same thing on the women's side. All these women, getting their championship reigns, and others on the come up getting their opportunities to go after the championship. It's what you love to see. So I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
to see that not Roxanne, Raquel is getting her opportunity again, for the championship. And now she ain't got to worry about dealing with Rhea Ripley or IYO SKY or Becky Lynch or Bailey. So the mainstays are technically out of the picture. And you got the some of the younger talent. Some of them have been around for a while, but not having getting given not having received as many opportunities at the gold. So
Mm-hmm.
it's refreshing to see.
All right, we get to our next match, which is Bronson Reed and Austin Theory taking on Dragon Lee and Penta, a byproduct of last week's kind of mayhem in the main event during the World Heavyweight Championship match between Breaker and CM Punk. Um, I'm going to be honest, nothing too crazy about this match. I did like the potential you can see in each one of these guys as a singles performer. So that's what I was really a fan of. But it was kind of predictable how it was going to happen. I mean, obviously you were going to get interference, but it was the way that it was done. Dragon Lee hit his, signature jump over the rope onto Bronson Reed, and he's fired up and everything. And as he turns around and looks up the ramp, out of nowhere comes Braun Breaker with a spear. And they timed it perfectly for Breaker just to sprint down that ramp and hit him. That led to a disqualification. The rest of the Vision start beating up Penta and Dragon Lee. Adam Pearce comes out. So does security. They do pretty much nothing. And then Braun Breaker then went after Adam Pearce. And that's when security really stepped up. Heyman tried to talk everybody down, but Adam Pearce told him to get out of the building. When they got backstage, Adam Pearce suspended Braun Breaker indefinitely for trying to attack him. It was a good match, and it was predictable, like I said. I am curious to see what happens with the suspension. I doubt Braun Breaker takes it to heed. He will probably interfere at some point next Monday in some kind of match. I'm not sure which one, but you can guarantee he's going to break his suspension. See what you think.
I'm gonna be real with you. I ain't care about that damn match. I care for everything that happened after the fact. Man, look, like this is what I love to see when the defying authority and putting your hands on authority, man. It's refreshing. We don't get to see that as often. So when we do see it, it means something. You know, I remember the days back, the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, where abusing the authority, it meant something. It was great to see. You know, the Vince McMahon getting Stone Cold Stunner, or just getting the hell beat out of him by any wrestler. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. Whether Shane McMahon, hell, even Stephanie McMahon caught a few licks here and there, man. Eric Bischoff, Teddy Long even caught some work, man. Hell, John Laurinaitis, like Paul Heyman, like, you know, I miss them days, man, where the GMs used to get demolished on a random night, you know, and like, so in this case we hadn't seen it, obviously, you know, like Bron, putting his hands on, you know, on Pierce the way he did, but he ain't spear him, you know, or anything like that. You know, so it's you know, I don't know if we gonna see those days back anymore, but just seeing there being animosity, you know, the GM getting hands put on them to some extent, you know, it was good to see. And so
Right.
I think Brian's probably gonna show up on Monday Night Raw again, and you know, he might spear Adam Pierce. Who knows? He gonna get arrested. So he might pull a Austin. You know, Austin you got at McMahon, and then he ended up getting was that he got at Vince, and he ended up getting arrested. Yep, he ended
I
up
think
getting
so.
arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Austin's going to jail. He's going to jail. So I think that might end up happening next week. So yeah, yeah, man, I enjoyed every bit of that segment and the aftermath, and Paul Heyman saying, you know, you put your hands on him first. All he did was turn him around, but that technically classifies as putting his hands on him. So you know, and then Brian screaming at him, "I'm gonna kill you," all that stuff like that. I'm like, oh damn, all right, all right. So you know, I don't know. I don't know who's gonna put a stop to Braun Breaker's wrath, but you know, well, hey, or just the vision in general. But you know, maybe Roman comes back. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I until we see somebody come back and stop this dude, I don't know, man. Shit, maybe suspension is the only thing, but hell, he might show up again next week.
Yeah, for real. All right, we get to our main event of the evening, which is AJ Styles versus Gunther. AJ Styles coming out to a huge pop, the crowd singing along to his song. Gunther, near his home country, comes out to just a few people singing. Like, barely, like you can barely hear them just humming to his theme song. Other than that, dead quiet. Kind of shows where people are at with Gunther. I think the crowd is smart enough to know that in order to voice their displeasures, it is by being quiet. And because everybody knows the worst reaction for a wrestler is no reaction at all. And that is what we are starting to see with Gunther. When you have to keep bringing up the same line over and over again, the crowd's going to get tired of it, and they already are. So we'll see what happens. But for the match, some good back and forth, some true old style wrestling happening because AJ can adapt like that. He can go into his kind of hybrid mode, but definitely was more traditional wrestling this time. Styles was in control until he got a chop that sent him to the floor. Styles kept trying to put in the calf crusher, but Gunther got out of the break hit the bottom rope, back and forth again. And then this is where things kind of got interesting. Gunther broke out of the calf crusher again and slammed Styles' head into the mat several times, but AJ did not flinch. He came back up, hit the calf crusher again, and all of a sudden just let go of Gunther and went straight to the ref and went to raise his hand. The ref was confused. Apparently, Gunther had tapped out to AJ's calf crusher. And you saw it on the replay. He did tap. The ref just was not at the right angle.
Mm-hmm.
So, what happens then? AJ's trying to plead his case. Referee doesn't listen, turns his back. Gunther hits a low blow, then hits a power bomb for the win. If I have to hear Gunther say, tapped out like a little bitch again, this is twice now. He has also done that. So it does not hit the same with the history of what we know. He tapped out to Jey Uso. He now tapped out to AJ Styles and got away with it on a technicality because of a bad angle. They have to come up with something different for him if you're going to get anything out of this. You are near his home country, and even as a heel, Drew McIntyre got loud pops because he was in his home country. Gunther got hardly anything. I don't know. I don't know why I complain about it. It's probably not going to make a difference, but it frustrates the heck out of me. And people online are going to be saying, "Oh, this was such a great," or saying this was so clever to make it a trilogy. No, it really didn't. It really didn't. It will eventually lead to probably a match at the Rumble and then a match at Mania. But they're going to keep the same old storyline of, I made Cena tap like a bitch, even though I've tapped out twice, but you all aren't smart enough to remember that. We are. So it's just, I don't know. This whole Gunther stuff is just not, it's not sitting with me. It's not hitting. I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think the whole I made John Cena tap out like a bitch is getting old, has gotten old. It's all, I feel like they've done this whole retirement storyline, well, where someone's kind of like trying to make amends for someone getting retired. I remember when Shawn Michaels retired Ric Flair at WrestleMania, and him and Batista had a feud after that because Batista wasn't too thrilled at the fact that Shawn Michaels retired Ric Flair. Though Ric Flair wanted the match, but we know they ended up having a stretcher match that Batista ended up winning, and so. But even then, it's not like Shawn Michaels was gloating after beating Ric Flair. He didn't want to do it, but he had to do it. In the case of Gunther, he's just been bragging, about making John Cena tap out, and so it's almost like, all right, a few superstars will step up, kind of go at him for disrespecting John Cena. We saw R-Truth make a, make a stand, but he ended up tapping out. And then you got AJ Styles pretty much a more legit competitor that can go at Gunther. We saw Gunther pretty much, pull some Eddie Guerrero shit to win, and
Wasn't even the good kind.
yeah, I personally don't want to see a trilogy. I feel like, especially now that we in the maybe they'll have a rematch at Saturday night's main event.
That's fine. Get it over with there. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I like, but the Royal Rumble, we don't need to see that because obviously they'll be in the Rumble itself. And then WrestleMania, I don't see a reason for them to have a WrestleMania match. But yeah, I think they got to figure something out with Gunther because what is the end game for him now that he's beaten John Cena? Like, what are the plans heading into not just the Rumble but WrestleMania? So obviously, he's a former world champion. He lost to CM Punk, so I would imagine that he's gonna want to He's gonna want to have to go out to CM Punk, to get his rematch. But he may end up having to win the Rumble to do that if CM Punk happens to have that championship by then. But hey, only time will tell. But I do agree with you. I feel your pain in regards to the I made John Cena tap out. Yeah, it was cool for the first night or so after Saturday night's main event, but now it's just like, all right, dude, come on.
Yeah.
I'm like, we gotta move on from this shit. John Cena's done, bro. Like, I'm like, you can only going milk is milk. You can only live off this man's name for so long. Like, like at some point, you gotta get back to your main career and keep moving forward and find ways to do that. So obviously, it's a creative thing. Triple H is the one called writing the shit. So gotta figure out what the end game is for Gunther. Is he going back after the championship or is he just gonna keep going on this I made John Cena tap out tour? Like what is the plan? I need them to figure that shit out. Quick,
Right.
fast, and in a hurry because the fact that he was near his hometown and the fans didn't really give a shit. That should tell you everything you need to know. So,
yep.
They better figure shit out, man.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see. But yeah, overall, pretty solid Monday Night Raw. Curious to see what next week beholds, especially with the World Heavyweight Championship that will be happening next week. See any final thoughts on the show?
I give it a solid B plus.
Yeah, that's about where I'm giving it as well. I think B plus is a good way to go on top for it. But hey, that's going to do it for us here on this Monday Night Raw Dog. Thank you all once again for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all of our content here at the We Book It podcast. And we will see you next week on another edition of Monday Night Raw Dog.